board recently arrived to shed light on a very important topic, physical ability. 6-year-old Anna Malina, who has Down syndrome, signed up for dance class, but only after one 45-minute session was told she did not fit the standards and asked to leave. Her mother exclaims, "We had a bad experience at one of the studios. We were told she wasn't welcome as she wasn't to the standards."
Ableism is a discrimination or prejudice against people with physical, mental, or developmental disabilities that is characterized by the belief that these individuals need to be fixed or cannot function as full members of society. This includes denial of accessibility and institutional discrimination. We see this discrimination in 6-year-old Anna's case.
This brings up the very controversial question of why people deem people with disabilities doing things able-bodied people do every day in a superhero complex. The supercrip theory, which is the presentation of a person affected by a disability or illness, often in their prime life, as overcoming to succeed as a meaningful member of society and to live a normal life. This reinforces the low societal expectations of people with disabilities and also plants the idea that people with disabilities should be able to accomplish at the level of a disabled hero.
The supercrip theory is seen in the story of 47-year-old Eric Winemaker. He became the first blind person to reach the summit of Everest in 2001 at the age of 32. This made him a media model, featured in newspapers, television shows, and was even featured on the cover of Time magazine. He was hailed a hero in the media and even compared to Helen Keller. Eric is deemed a superhero in society for climbing Mount Everest, something many people have done, but because he is visually impaired, it was everywhere.
This guest accomplished something that only a handful of people have successfully done, and that is climb Mount Everest. The only difference is Eric Winemaker is legally blind.
You never know what or who could just instantly inspire you to change the direction of your life. All of our guests today were inspired by people who helped them look at themselves and the world in a different way. After going blind as a child, Eric Winemaker never dreamed he would become one of the few people on the planet Earth to scale the 7 summits. That is the highest peaks on each of the 7 continents, including Mount Everest, the highest one.
But Mount Everest has been attempted by thousands and many have succeeded. It is not something that is praised if an able-bodied person does it. For example, most could not name the first people to climb Mount Everest, even though it is more historically relevant.
Looking at Winemaker's accomplishments, many disabled people are seen as inspirational, even if doing everyday things like physical activity. We call this inspiration porn. With praising disabled people for doing everyday things, we miss the greater issues, like the fact that 1 in 6 people have been documented with a disability, yet individuals with disabilities are not getting the same amount of physical activity and athletic opportunity as individuals without disabilities. This brings up the theory of hegemony, which is the subtle, passive reinforcement of the dominant ideology that maintains people with disabilities at the bottom of the social hierarchy.
The Paralympics are the second largest sporting event in the world behind the Olympics, but the coverage and advertisement for the Paralympics is almost non-existent. 5,488 articles appeared during the Olympics in the same 300 newspapers. Although the Olympics was spread over more days, the numbers indicate that the coverage of the Paralympics was less than 10% of the coverage of the Olympics. It might also be commonly believed that the para of the word Paralympics somehow means disabled, when in fact it's because the games run parallel with the Olympics.
The Paralympics were originally called the Wheelchair Games. It was developed by doctors who believed in sports therapy to enhance the quality of life. With that in mind, it has now been made into a sporting event that has been extended into other disabilities, but still remains controversial because of the classification system. Oftentimes, Paralympic athletes believe that patronizing, "look what they can do," even though they have a certain disability, is insulting and devaluates the talent and training of top athletes. Like Carly Miller, 2-time seeded volleyball silver medalist, says, "I don't play disabled sports, I play adaptive sport."